Spent on the Bubble Award of $2,000 will be applied to the PBA's Billy Whaloo Scholarship Fund in memory of our first regular expert on our telecasts. As Jimmy Keith throws the first shot, leads a 2-4-5. Billy with us for 13 years, and delightful Bo Burton has been with us ever since. In fact, Bo, this house is familiar to you because you won the first two tournaments here.
Won the first two tournaments in 74 and 75, Chris.
And of course, he won a total of 17 in every Hall of Fame that you can imagine, and so is our scorekeeper today. Bowls from the other side, John Petraglia. Thanks, John, for helping us.
Let's see if Benoit can loosen up. He was pulling a lot of shots in that first game. He needs to send it wide. There you go.
Okay.
There is no particular trick on this championship pair. Just stand left with your feet, Bob. Trust the ball to the right. It'll come back. He did it all week long. He shot some fabulous scores to get there. And if he can get zeroed on this lane, loosen up, this is where we see some big numbers.
Shot the 300 in 1988. His very first telecast to Mark Roth's 255. Title game, he won Quaker State. Bob Benoit, if you just joined us, defeated Bob Espy 207 to 203. Now it's Jimmy Keith, his opponent from West Palm Beach, Florida.
They call Jimmy Keith the Rocket. Nobody throws the ball harder at spares than Jimmy Keith. He has a tremendously powerful bowling ball, which he'll show you on this shot, but without hooking it very much. Once again, it's all in the revolutions.
I hit, leaving the 3-6-10.
Keith, one of the real power styles on the tour. He starts with that five-step delivery. Watch how he disjoints his wrist, much like Bob Espy, his buddy from Florida. Look at this position. Actually, the ball is setting on the wrist. Look at the pivot step. He's right in position to drive through, and he just rolls the ball off his wrist. That's where he gets the power.
And again, we see a 3-6-10 chopped off. Or we see a 3-6 chopped off to 10, Bo.
You're right, partner, and it's an identical shot that Espy missed on the same lane to open the door to allow Benoit to win the match. Now let's take a look at how Keith is playing the lane. He throws the ball with as much hook as Espy if he throws it as slow, but once again, Keith with a lot of speed, over 20 miles an hour. He's standing here. He'll be in this zone. He'll cross around the second arrow. Watch these angles. He'll drive the ball through there. Chris, these bowlers are just plain bowling bad today. I bowled on this championship pair. I bowled on it Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and twice in the tournament. It's an ideal pair of lanes if you don't pull the ball. Everybody has been pulling it. Benoit seems to have loosened up now.
What speed by Jimmy Keith, West Palm Beach, who took a year and a half off to get away from the life on tour. Second here, however, in Windsor Locks at Bradley Bowl in 1987. Fifth telecast overall. 16th for Bob Benoit. Ten on the right.
Okay, at least Benoit's putting the ball in the pocket. If you watched the first game, you were watching Benoit kind of sneak by Bob Espy with some good breaks and great spare shooting as he made two splits and a 2-5-8 spare in the clutch ninth frame. Now he's trusting the ball and he's in the pocket. Cross lane for the 10. He would have a 34-pin lead.
Oh! Who says body English doesn't work? Next, ABC's Wide World of Sports returns to Cancun, Mexico to discover who's the best all-around athlete. The final challenge of the Jeep Superstars, plus the last major Derby prep race, the Wood Memorial Invitational, presented by Kawasaki, live, all next on ABC Sports.
The Wood Memorial Speed Race, whichever horse gets out in front will be tough to beat. Now, Benoit, fourth frame.
And now, Mr. Benoit has a problem.
Hello, the 710, the swishing 710. Benoit will just go for one of the pins. He'll still lead by 22 pins if he knocks one down. And here's Roth did it once. We saw John Mazza do it once again on ABC. I don't think Benoit will go for it. He doesn't have that type of power. He's just going to try to knock one pin down.
All right. This is our second match of the Tums Classic in Windsor Locks, Connecticut. This break, and then we'll be back. For all these superstition bowling fans, here's an Elvis tune from 30 years ago.
Good luck charm hanging on my arm.
And Windsor Locks with Bob Benoit up. Jimmy Keith in the fifth frame. Left the 310, chopped the 3 off. This man leads by 33 pins now. Fifth frame for Bob Benoit. Here we go again. 2, 7, 8. It's all right, Bob. You know what it's all about. Bob has really had his situations today. His leaves here. This one's on the right lane. Won the first match if you just joined us, 207 to 203. Had 6 strikes in the game. Here he goes. All right. A little lesson by Bob Benoit. In fact, Bob is with Bo on his tip of the week. Here is Nelson.
Thank you, Chris Schenkel. Dave Ferraro, you'll be in the semifinal match. Dave, I'm shocked at the scoring. The players just plain look like they're bowling bad to me. What's your opinion?
Well, judging by the practice round, I had a good shot, and most of the guys did. Now, if the oil changed around, that's one thing, but I plan to bowl a good score.
He's not worried about the other players, Chris. I think their game is off, and they better get it together if they're going to handle Ferraro. Back to you.
Kingston Flash will be ready. From Topeka, originally from Dallas. Two accurate shots by Bob Benoit, who is in the lead over Jimmy Keith, who is struggling more than any of our 3 bowlers that we've seen today. Here's Jimmy again. 24 years old. Okay, Jimmy Keith disappeared from the tour in the late 80s, and now he's coming on strong and feeling confident about his chances today.
Well, I was home for 2 years, working. Come back out here, new improved. Spare game's a lot better. The strike game this week was unbelievable. I've never been this comfortable in probably all of my life. And it's just, nothing's going to stop me today.
Right now he's stopping himself as he trails by 33, 7th frame. He can cut the lead to 23.
Okay. Finally, Jimmy Keith says, his last television was 1989, the Showboat Doubles Classic with Ray Perez. They finished 3rd.
You want to see some power, you just can't get any more than this. Watch what happens to these pins. He just dissects the center of the rack. The 6-pin twists around, knocks over the 10. He's back into the match.
We'll be back. Windsor Locks, Connecticut, on this day before a holiday. Stay tuned. Battle for the Tums Classic Championship is underway. Bob Benoit leading by 23 pins after a victory in the first game over Bob Vespi, 207 to 203, has a double working, shooting in the 8th frame. I'm sorry, Bob had a strike up, not a double, but now he has doubled.
Benoit finally looks like he's settled down. He was relaxed on it. You can see the expression on his face, nice and smooth. Now here's how he got there. Round 6, the final 8 games of the championship round. Look what he averaged. He won all 8 games, defeating his opponents, getting 30-pin bonus for each victory, plus the 255 average. Now he's won his first game over Vespi, has a chance to put Keith on the ropes here, 8th frame.
Good reason to hold your head.
You know, this unusual split, we've had it a number of times in the last month on the PBA Tour. The 3, 4, 6, 10. You need to get the ball over to the right of the 3-pin, drive that 3 into the 4, and the ball will take out the 6-10. A tough shot, but only the big hook ball players lead this type of split. Right now, Benoit would have a slender lead if he doesn't convert. Jimmy Keeth, he needed that opening. He struggled through the first 5 frames, and he just overpowered the pins in the 6th and 7th frames. Now he comes up in the 8th frame with a chance to put this match back in perspective. One more strike, he will only trail by 7 with 2 frames to go.
Speed to burn. Whew. Jimmy Keeth, West Palm Beach, Florida.
Well, I've watched Jimmy bowl for almost 6 years, Chris. I met him when he was a teenage bowler in West Palm. I bowled an exhibition. I asked for somebody to come out of the stands who was willing to bowl a pro. He says, "Hey, Burton, I can beat you." And here he is, a little 16-year-old, shot 268 against me, and he was great in the clutch as it went down to the final 2 frames. Let's see if he can do it in the big time right now against Bob Benoit. He needs this strike to take the lead.
Big time.
Hello. Purvis Granger needs to work on his knee bend. Another local, Lassard, 21st. Parker Bone had a fabulous winner. He's ready for the stone. Mark Williams, he's won the Firestone twice. Chris, he'll be tough.
Nelson Burton Jr. was the alternate. Next week. That's it. The $300,000 Firestone Tournament of Champions from Fairlawn, Ohio. The reigning PBA Player of the Year, David Ozio, will be there with 51 others to go. And the Spring-Summer Tour here on ABC Sports begins May 30th, 8 straight weeks. Prior to that, the PBT Spring Tour gets underway on May 23rd in Dublin, California. But we'll be with you May 30th. That's a week after live coverage of the Indianapolis 500. And here in Connecticut, Bo, the semifinal game, it ought to be one worth watching.
You bet, Chris. Dave Ferraro, nobody doubts his ability out here on the tour. Probably among the top 5, easily, of the top players in the world right now.
And Dave Ferraro leaving the 7-pin on the left lane. Kingston, New York's finest.
Ferraro just steady for the last six or 7 years. Nobody realizes how tough he is because he never had a big run where he got in the championship round as many times as this year. But look at his record. Top 10 averages 8 years in a row.
Good Dave, his 37th telecast, and for a long while he was being watched up close and personal by his lovely wife, Gloria. You'll see her after a while. As now here's the man you saw in that match with Benoit. A thriller.
The Rocket, Jimmy Keith, 6 in a row to finish that game and close out Benoit.
Okay, big strike. Jimmy Keith. You know, we were all saddened this week with the death of a grand lady, Millie Levine, wife of past president of the Bowling Riders, New York journalist, and PBA staffer Jerry Levine. Millie was vibrant, and yes, she was beautiful. We'll miss her.
A great lady. Jerry Levine, also a great man. We miss you out here in the tour today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a settled down Jimmy Keith looks sharp.
Yes, he does. All right, after a spare now, we get another look at Dave Ferraro, who's been our leading star in a number of appearances this year.
The style of Ferraro, 5-step, very simple delivery, upright style. Now, he doesn't have the cup wrist like we saw in some of the other players, but look at the position of that foot driving straight towards the foul line. Look at the side foot getting ready to go straight toward the line. The left shoulder comes back, the arm extends straight through to the target. Somebody's got to realize out here that this is just not a lucky streak Ferraro's in. He is just throwing good shots day after day.
Coming high and leaving the 3 on the left lane. Now we got this picture of Gloria. Gabrielle, not quite a year old, is here in the building, and beautiful.
Kingston, New York, only about a 2-hour drive away from Windsor Locks, Connecticut.
The players' wives keep the home fires burning.
Now Keith, who is on a hot streak as he has struck 8 out of the last 9 shots, can make it 3 in a row to start this game.
All right.
Those pins weigh 3 pounds 6 ounces, and yet Jimmy Keith is making those pins look like twigs down there. I mean, that is power. And the key is he has cut down his hook. His ball is going right around the second arrow. He's going out to about the 3rd board and right into the 1-3. Just a terrific shot by him. Bang, as he opens up a 20-pin lead over the tough Dave Ferraro. 4th frame coming. He's perfect through 3.
Not on tour as a 19-year-old. He's now 24. Leading a 6-pin, the young man who has picked up 35 pounds between age 19 but it's muscle and power.
The only thing he complained about, Chris, last night, he was complaining about hamstring tightness. He gets very low profile at the line, and what happens with him is that if he gets tight, he's going to have a little bit of problem.
We're in Windsor Locks. In 1965, a Windsor Locks team was crowned Little League World Series champions, defeating Stony Creek, Ontario, Canada. The winning pitcher, Mike Roach. Were they happy in this little hamlet in Connecticut? Windsor Locks. That smiling gentleman is Alan Jones, Tums division manager, and this is the Tums Classic at Bradley Bowl, Windsor Locks, Connecticut. Another 10-pin. Dave Ferraro. Eight telecasts last year, including one right here where he finished 2nd. Okay, Bo.
Thank you, Chris. Our tournament leader, Walter Ray Williams Jr. Walter Ray, the tournament leaders, 3 wins and 10 losses so far, or 11 losses so far this year. What's the problem, and what are you going to do to change it around?
Well, I think there's a lot of different combinations. The lane conditions are always going to change a little tiny bit on TV. The players who just won, they've got the crowd behind them. Their momentum's going good, so that adds up to it also. And, you know, it's just, I'm just going to go out there, and I've got a good reaction still, so when I go out there, I'm going to strike as much as I can, and those other guys better be lucky.
All right, very confident, Chris. Back to you.
Okay, and Dave Ferraro, confident going in, continues to mark, but he's trailing by 21 pins against Jimmy Keith, who defeated Bob Benoit in the previous game, 212 to 190. Now a 10-pin for Keith, Bo.
You're right, Chris. And in the announce booth with us is Jimmy Keith's good friend, Bob Vespi, who was in the first match. And Bob, if Jimmy has any shortcomings in his game, is it a spare ball, he loses concentration, or what can he mess up here?
Well, his first ball is so intimidating, Bo. I think he just needs to get a little self-confidence. Last night he was reaching for the show, and he went like 3 and 5, and he was just so intimidating the first 8 games to get there. And when he gets his self-confidence, he's awesome.
We're followed by ABC's Wide World of Sports. We return to Cancun, Mexico to discover who's the best all-around athlete, because it's the final challenge of the Jeep Superstars. And then live, the Wood Memorial Invitational presented by Kawasaki from Aqueduct, New York. It's the last major Derby prep race. That's today live, following us.
All right, Jimmy Keith, 20-pin lead, 6-frame semifinal game. Well, Chris, that's what his buddy Bob Vespi just said. If he can keep it loose and stay relaxed, he's just awesome. His strike ball has never been questioned, that's for sure. Now, Ferraro, the experience, the confidence, the determination, trails by 20.
All right. Dave Ferraro has a prescription for how to coordinate family life and life on the road as a pro.
Well, being a family man definitely comes first. Bowling then comes second. This week it's been close, so my family is here, my daughter Gabrielle, and my wife came to watch me. And I think it's been an advantage this year. The schedule has been so close to home that I've been able to go home weekends and see the family. I think that contributed to me bowling so well this winter.
Another
Boy, he didn't want that 10-pin to stand on that shot. Look at this game. He struggled a little bit the first 3 frames, and his experience showed up. 10-pin, solid 10 in the 5th, strike in the 6th, another solid 10 in the 7th. Wow.
Okay, semifinal game. Walter Ray Williams waiting to meet the winner of this game. We'll be back. 16th stop next week and final stop on our winter tour. But we'll be back 30th of May with the Seattle Open here on ABC. Right now, Jimmy Keith. Strikes when it's needed, Nelson.
Yeah, big shot against Ferraro. Jimmy Keith knows how tough Ferraro is out there, especially in the championship round, and Ferraro is zeroed in. He's nailed the last 4 shots. He's only got 1 strike to show for it, and Ferraro has, as he looks at the scoreboard, has a potential 228. Right now, Keith going at a 228 pace, so it behooves Jimmy Keith to keep striking.
In Connecticut, there are a lot of antiques. That's why we want to thank the Society for the Preservation of New England Antiquities, who hosted us at the Henry Bowen Estate at the beginning of our show. It was as perfect as that strike. And our host of the day was Pam Russo, and we thank her as well.
Dave Ferraro just leaving some 10 pins. That's the characteristic of this house. Easy to hit the pocket, but you can leave some 10s.
For Dave today, strikes have been hard to come by, believe me.
Mandatory that Keith strike right here.
Kim Zumeskel, world all-around champion, performing from Paris on ABC Sports, going after the 92 gold in the World Gymnastics Championships tomorrow at 1:30 Eastern. And then World League Football is also tomorrow here on ABC. I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. There's a 7-pin for Dave Ferraro.
A disappointed Dave Ferraro. You can see the look on his face. He needed this strike to stay in the match. The ball comes in light. Hits the 1 and 3 pins. Now watch the action of the 5. The ball's going to impact the 1, 3. There's the 5. Doesn't quite have enough impetus to get over the 7. Ferraro in trouble.
In that World League Football, the regional matchups, the Montreal Machine taking on the division leader Orlando, or you may see the Ohio Glory traveling south to meet the San Antonio Riders. All that football action and gymnastics, 1:30 Eastern, 12:30 Central on ABC Sports.
Keith, the possible 268.
Look at him.
Well, once again, I address Bob Vespi. Jimmy Keith, Bob, is on a roll. Does he have the ability, Bob, do you feel, to keep shooting 260, 260, 260 as he used to shoot in the big numbers?
Most definitely, especially in this house, you've already said if you can get the 10 out, you're going to slow a lot of strikes. The whole field averaged 230 in the finals, and that just goes to show you that we can throw some strikes when you put the good shot out in the gutter.
All right, Bob, how about Jimmy Keith? He's going to bowl Walter Ray for the title. Do you think he'll, as we say, apple up in the clutch?
Nah, I think he's over his... He's got it under his belt from the one time he finished second here to Bob Hanley, so I think he's going to take that experience and take it to heart and win this one.
Now you hear some pinfall. That's our tournament leader, Walter Ray Williams, staying loose off to our right. He averaged 242.
For 42 games,
yes.
And I've seen him bowl on this championship pair all week long. He's really tough, but look out for Jimmy Keith. This is going to be an exciting final.
Temperament appears to be just perfect, and for Dave Ferraro, his 7th appearance on television this year, he met a buzzsaw.
You're right, and the buzzsaw is in that ball. When Keith can hit the pocket, the pins have no chances. He's going to be in the 260s. He'll bowl for his first championship on the PBA Tour.
Okay, ABC Sports presentation of the Professional Bowlers Tour. We'll return after this message and a word from our local ABC stations. Now here's a Tums Classic recap. Bob Benoit defeating Bob Vespi 207 to 203. In the next match, Jimmy Keith, who hasn't won on the Pro Tour yet, defeated Benoit 212 to 190. Mr. Keith gets wound up, and look what he did. 267 to 208 to eliminate a great champion, Dave Ferraro. Now goes against another for the Tums Classic title, and Walter Ray Williams will be a formidable foe. So are all the 52 champions at the Firestone Tournament Champions Bowl, and one of our most memorable events took place back in 1970. And the next voice you will be hearing will be that of the late Billy Whaley.
Chris, 25,000 in his pocket, 10,000 on this ball. Solid 10, Chris. Unbelievable.
And the very last ball, Don Johnson, a tremendous hit. There's Marianne Johnson. Keith Fountain consoling her. It's just 110 away from an extra 10,000.
Well, Chris, that was an exciting moment in PBA history as Billy Whaley called the action. You saw also some great stars in there, as you saw Carmen Salvino and Barry Asho congratulating Don Johnson.
And Jimmy Keith, as we said, needs to win this match to be eligible for the Firestone Tournament of Champions. There's a great way to start. He had 15 strikes in the last 18 shots. So it's 16 of the last 19 now.
Here's a man averaged better than 240 on this championship pair all week long.
Winner of 6 titles, 1986 Player of the Year, 5 times World Horseshoe Pitching Champion.
Great natural athletic ability. Look at that concentration in his eyes, just riveted on the target. Very flat wrist. Now, Walter Ray can hook it if he wants to, but look at these positions. Look at that foot pointing right down the line. Drives straight through the shot, pointing the left shoulder back, the right shoulder through, and he's off to a good start. The match is even.
Big crank and a big 10-pin on the left lane.
Walter, who hasn't played a whole lot of hook towards the pocket this week, mostly angle coming off the very first board and using the angle into the 1-3 pocket to create the carry. By that time, didn't quite finish enough, leaves the 10-pin.
Walter is our top seed, our tournament leader, led from the very beginning. 4 of our 13 winners have won from the top seed. Walter, however, is 0-7 from the top spot.
The strike ball of Jimmy Keith. Can he keep it going for his first championship? This is only the second frame.
4.
High percentage with that power ball and the light hit, but when he gets up in that high zone, it decreases with so much hook in the back end. Keith does not trip out the 4-pin. Keith, a good, solid spare shooter. Watch the speed and technique he uses this. I don't recommend this much speed. It's almost some of his youthfulness, but the angle and the straight shot is great.
Jimmy Keith's best showing here in 1992 was 33rd in the Florida Open. Last time on television, 1989, Showboat Doubles, as he teamed with Ray Perez to finish 3rd.
Keith, a junior bowler, bowled in the Young Alliance program that's held by the American Bowling Congress. Has been a good bowler for a long time, has never won a championship. Bob Vesby, is he starting to push a little bit? The championship game, he's pulling the ball.
Seems like he's just trying to get it down a little too quick. Had the same problems myself, so let's just hope he calms down and takes it as it comes.
But with all that power that you and Keith have, why would you ever want to go high? Send it light.
That's just the art of the game.
That's pressure.
Bob Vesby, whose voice you're hearing, although he hasn't won, he has earned over $70,000 already this year, so we congratulate him on that. Terrific competitor. Williams Jr. has perfected the outside line. Early he offered some advice and a prediction.
Well, to play the outside line, you have to really practice it a lot. And every once in a while, I will go to a house and just practice that. Even though the shot may be at 5 or 10 board, I'll be outside playing the 2-3 board just to practice it. And I think that's what you need to do, is practice a shot that you're not comfortable with to get better at it. And as far as today, I'm going to be tough to beat.
Well, he's been light and then high on that left-hand lane as a very colorful Walter Ray Williams Jr., which, you know, Chris, that looks like a flag from some country he's got on his there. What do you think of that shirt, bud?
It's early Easter.
He dipped that somewhere.
All right, Walter Ray Williams Jr. going against Jimmy Keith in the Tums Classic Championship game. More of it after this. At 69, Ken West has staged a PBA tournament. He's the tournament chairman again here. And Red Burnham, general manager Bradley Bowl, a newspaper man. Two great guys that combined to come up with a Tums Classic that's been tremendous.
All right, Jimmy Keith seeking his first title. Needs this match to qualify for the Firestone Tournament Champions. Trails by 1, 4th frame.
The stylish Jimmy Keith.
You betcha. You watch the angles, that ball goes sizzling down the last 2 boards. And now watch the action, the head pin, it goes to the left sideboard. The scout, as they call it, comes across and takes the 10 out. Watch his reaction. Gotta like it. Bob Besby nudged me in the announce booth. Chris, these guys take that strike for granted like that. I haven't had one like that in a month.
Woo! A man that has yet to win his first PBA title, Jimmy Keith. 3 regional titles, however. Here's a man with 6, the 1986 Player of the Year. I always call him the Errol Flynn look-alike. We got a... Jimmy Keith looks like a Hollywood star, too. Look at this. PBA all-time money winners, the millionaires. First 5, followed by this group. Look at that. Could add 31 to it today. So he is 32 years of age. He'll make it.
You're right. And David Husted, who is 9th, will go over the $1 million mark next week at the Firestone. Now, Walter Ray Williams Jr. to take the lead by 1. 6th frame.
Wow. Oh, he's going to dislocate the shoulder. Whew.
In my opinion, the most versatile player on the PBA Tour. He can throw it hard, he can throw it slow, he can hook it big. On that particular shot, look at the thing he went through. He went stroke it, left the soft 10. Moved to the right on that left lane, left a 4-pin. The 6th frame, he just goes back to where he left a 4 and threw a rocket to the pocket. He now has a 1-pin lead.
This is like a great heavyweight championship match. A jab and a solid right.
And 2 different styles. The power of Keith against the accuracy and touch and experience of Walter Ray Williams Jr. 4 frames left to determine the championship. The second Tums Classic and $31,000.
Here's a man with 19 strikes this afternoon on live television. Make it 20. He's going to pick up a lot of fans, isn't he?
You bet. This is the best I've ever seen Jimmy Keith bowl. I've seen him bowl in the qualifying with this demeanor. He crossed next to me in the qualifying this week. He started very slow in the tournament, averaging just 205. Came to life as he is against Walter Ray. But now the match is on. Who can win? And so far, the power of Keith has been the difference. Walter Ray, every ball in the pocket. Jimmy Keith, every ball in the pocket. Yet Keith has a slender lead. Walter Ray has not been able to carry the 10-pin on 2 occasions.
Bob Benoit won the first game over Bob Vespi, 207 to 203. Keith came along and defeated Benoit 212 to 190. Then Keith over Ferraro 267 208.
The rosin bag at work in the hands of Jimmy Keith as we go into the 8th frame. Walter Ray trails by 20.
Did he lose it at the line a little bit?
Double dribble, Chris. He dropped it off the line. He still gets a good break. Ball bounces a little bit, but yep, there it is. And that is almost disaster, except for Walter being so accurate. Still has a chance. Slides the 5 in front of the 7. And this year, the man leading after 5 frames in every game has won 80% of the time. That man right now is Jimmy Keith.
Walter Ray against a real heavyweight, 195 pounds. And before we went on the air, I talked to Jimmy Keith about his fellow West Palm Beacher named Freddie Couples, who won the Masters last week. So I said you might as well make it a double for that area.
You bet. A lot of city taxes dollars going down that way.
Wow.
All right, the power of Keith. Now the reaction. Bob Vespi, can your partner put him away right here? If he strikes here, it's a shutout.
Well, it looks pretty good right now. After you said he couldn't let it go, I think he heard you. Now he's really letting it fly now.
This could be the winning shot.
Oh, it's 3-6-10. There's somebody who up to this point has won $1,955. He has a chance to not only win this, but qualify for the Firestone. And our scorekeeper named Butch Soper, he's watching with interest too.
Butch is the man on the bubble. He will be knocked out if Keith wins. Important spare here. Keith, a pretty good spare shooter for a power player, needs to convert the 3-6-10.
And the man on the bubble, Butch Soper, a Tums Classic $2,000.
Well, I'm sure Butch doesn't want to cash that in right now, and it really is determined by Walter Ray. Butch, watching the tournament at home in California, I'm sure, is rooting for Walter Ray Williams Jr. to put some strikes here in the 9th and 10th frame.
A 6.
Well, Walter Ray, you are going to be another victim of a top-seeded player. The top seed has only won 3 times. He is going to lose 12 after Walter Ray loses this game.
Walter Ray, 0 for 8 from the top seed.
Well, the best he can do is 2-17 with 3 strikes in the 10th. Jimmy Keith just has to stay in the building. Even with an open frame, Keith will be in the 220s. Walter Ray, possible 217. Keith knows he has it won. I'll tell you, if Walter Ray could have had that happen in the 2nd frame or in the 7th frame, this would have been a different match. Right there, it's only at 10 pins. If that happens in the 2nd frame, it would have been 20 pins because it was to between strikes.
Walter Ray, 217.
Bowled great. Really had one shot a little bit off his hand there in the 9th frame, went high, but this man wins the money. That's a winner right there, at least 222.
6-year member of the Professional Bowlers Association with 3 regional titles. As a 19-year-old, his first telecast. This is his first of the year, his 5th overall, in an impressive fashion. Jimmy Keith, Tums Classic champion, will be back. Bradley Bowl, but first, this message. The West Palm Beach Rocket is at the top. 31,000 for Jimmy Keith. Runner-up, Walter Ray Williams next, and so on down the line. Powerful Jimmy.
Walter, you bowled great. I don't know even what to say. I'd like to thank Ken West, Red Durham. You run a hell of a tournament here. Tums, I'm going to need a lot of Tums tonight. I can tell you that right now.
An unsolicited commercial for a fine product. So with that in mind, with the smiling Alan Jones, who is Tums division manager, he has a very pretty trophy.
Well, on behalf of Tums and SmithKline Beecham Consumer Brands, I'd like to give you this championship trophy for your winning performance in this year's Tums Classic. Congratulations. Thank you.
All right, and while that soaks in, here's Ken West, who has sponsored a tournament here since '69.
Along with the Tums Chalice, here's $31,000, and from the bowlers in New England, we welcome you as our new champion.
Thank you.
You're in the Firestone. Butch Stoper in the bubble gets the Tums $2,000 check, and next week should be fun for you.
I'm looking forward. It's the highlight of my life right now. I don't even know what to say.
Congratulations again. Walter Ray Williams, the runner-up. Great champion. Here's the first-time champion, Jimmy Keith. For Bo Burton, Chris Schenkel. See you at the Firestone next week.